Grassroots is where everything begins. And if you don't have grassroots, you don't make progress.
It's a hard, it's a tedious job at times to get people to be aroused from their apathetic slumbers.
What has been the driving force behind this effort?
Aretha Lowe.
29 years ago, myself, Bart Cunningham, who's one of our originals, we started the MLK, which Lake Worth did not have one. And we've been hanging in for 30 years. When we first started out, we were doing it within this community. We started out with singing out on the ball field. We had the breakfast and the events. Everything was just right here because we didn't have anybody to step forward, and it was a challenge for us to find a place. I went to the commission and I figured if I was elected, that means that I was a part of Lake Worth. That's when I ran for office and I won. And I brought the idea that instead of us being here, let's move it to City Hall. Well, it was a little rough tumbling, getting them to agree with us, but they finally did.
There must be a revolution of values in our country. As Jimmy Baldwin said on one occasion, what advantage is there in being integrated into a burning house?
As a kid, I came up, in the movement in Chicago. The first time I attended an MLK march in the city of Lake Worth, we were marching from City Hall down to Bryant Park. There were a lot of good-hearted people of all walks of life that were involved by that time. It wasn't just this neighborhood anymore. They were singing. That was holy music to us, To me, it represents what Dr. King was about in the spirit of the movement.
We shall overcome someday.
I was really happy to join the committee, work with Rita and Bart and other people here. I just showed up and Rita said, well, come on down to the meeting. It was a smaller group, we had maybe 4 or 5 community people. Anna Jean Marshall, I know, was involved. She was a nurse. They had their own MLK celebration there that she headed up. So we used to do the morning here and then the noontime lunch there at JFK, and then we'd come back and do the march and the dinner here in the evening. We were younger then.
My name is Anderson Kurtz. I am an heir of the civil rights movement, having worked both in the Northeast and in Mississippi. Well, the reason that I started attending and became a part of this was because of one of the weekends. When I first came here, there's a group called the Core Ensemble that were doing a black one-person play event. And I thought, wow, this is really impressive. It was impressive from 2 points of view. One, the quality of the work was good, but also it was just one person actor or actress. That got my attention. I ran into Ted at some point, and he gave a lecture there on a book he had written. And to me, he was I called him at that time, the last remaining liberal. That impressed me too. He and I began to talk. He led me to Ms. Rita, and the rest is history.
I'm Paul Blockson, and I am a product of the MLK movement and all that it means and entails. Right before I got here in 1996, Rita was elected to the commission, first black female, and the only black person to represent the city of Lake Worth. Along with Bart Cunningham, they mandated through the commission that they seek out a black representative in the higher administration of the city because there was none. And so they went around the country looking for a minority to come in as fire chief. Eventually, I was selected to be the fire chief here in the city of Lake Worth in 1996.
In the South, we can see pockets of progress here and there. We've really made some strides.
I moved to Lake Worth in '76, and I've been here right at 12th Avenue and East Street for 48 years. So I've seen a lot of changes take place here in the city of Lake Worth.
This community had been isolated and an all-black community, and the rest of the city was all white. We saw that change take place. And it's very meaningful to us. We struggled for that, and it happened.
When I first moved to Lake Worth, I used to sit downtown on Sundays deliberately and count the number of blacks that I would see. And if in a period of 3 hours I saw 4 blacks, that would be a miracle. I'd call my brother in New England, say, guess what? I saw 4 blacks today. That's all changed now. That's progress. It may be small, but it's kind of how you make things happen.
It's changed dramatically. Of course, it's not anywhere near what I would expect or really want or look forward to, but it's changed dramatically. The commissioner and her group, the senior citizens of this area, they all push forward an agenda that supports inclusiveness within the city, and that's really rewarding. They've changed the intent and the opinions of the majority to realize that the minorities play an important role within the governing of the city and managing the city, and that has been very good. Trying to push forward the agenda of Dr. Martin Luther King, which indicated that everybody is equal, they should be paid equally and things of that nature. People are listening.
When I first moved to Lake Worth, there were people telling me, "You're moving to Lake Worth? Are you crazy?" Things like that. Lake Worth is a cool city to live in. It's the one city that people that I know who live here now say, we feel very safe here because of the way the city has grown and has changed. I do know that when I'm in a situation and I ask for help in this town, I normally get it. So that to me is the test. When you ask, do you receive? And here the answer is yes.
It's much easier to integrate a lunch counter than it is to guarantee an annual income, for instance, to get rid of poverty for Negroes and all poor people. It's much easier to integrate a bus than it is to make genuine integration a reality and quality education a reality in our schools.
We have been doing this for 29 years and we have never charged a penny. And we've given food. They don't give us any food, we buy it, we pay. We give them food, we give them entertainment, we go to all the functions, and we don't pay anything here.
And you're raising money for the scholarships.
And we just ask them, we don't ask them to give me $25, give me $50. We just ask for a small donation toward our scholarships. Yep. That's it. And so we don't want to have to pay people to do a community service for us. Right. We don't want to. I don't want to. I'm here for the gathering, the love, the entertainment, the kindness that we can do for one another, and we don't want to charge them, but we do ask them for a donation. Yeah. So we're not going to go out paying people to use something that they can be giving back to the community.
Right.
Over the years, we've given out at least, I'd say for 20 years, we've probably given out maybe a total of 50 to 60 scholarships. We give out 1 to 2 scholarships, $1,000 each scholarship a year. It started out at $500 20 years ago. Now we're up to $1,000. And we give out at least 2, sometimes 3, depending on the amount of money we have in our coffers. All of these fundraising efforts we do are donations. We never go out and solicit funds of any sort, whether it's buying tickets or selling for meals or whatever. It's always a donation. So we're somewhat limited into what we can collect and then issue out in scholarships.
When we do the King Weekend, I call it, there is always a place where the children come, they sing, they perform, they do things like that. But more than that, they get to see a lot of adults, including black adults, who by definition become role models. And that attracts the children also. Some of the children are at various churches, and so it's kind of a cascading effect from what we do here back to their own individual churches.
Some of the kids, a lot of them have come back to the community, which is really rewarding. You know, they've gone on to college and they've come back to assist us and to work in the community, especially for the children, and assist in getting things done still in the community. I don't believe that everything that in the benefit of blacks have to be from blacks. I don't believe that it's necessary to mandate that other people can't get involved and be leaders in that organization. Our group that we have here is an integrated group. You know, we have a little bit of everybody coming to these meetings and being involved to make sure that we push forward Dr. Martin Luther King's agenda, because it not only helps minorities, but it helps us all, because diversification is most important for everything. not just for humans, but for everything in life.
You know, it's been a real pleasure to work with these people, and when we have our meetings, we laugh, we know each other, there's a good fellowship, and it's really been a joy. We've had, you know, several different projects over the years. One of the main projects that this committee did, along with other community partners, was to build the Martin Luther King Memorial in our cultural plaza right downtown. And that consists of a fountain with a globe of the world that rotates on water, and then a pergola, and there's a pathway of progress. That was a big project that we did. One of the things we did for fundraisers for that was to sell t-shirts. So we had t-shirts which Al Blocks had carried around in the trunk of his car for years, selling one or two here or there before we sold them all. And then for the 25th anniversary, 5 years ago, we made up a new shirt, and this one is really sharp. The other one was nice too, but the colors and everything really jump out on this. So.
In the quest for integration, I think we can offer our whole nation something, because there are three evils in our nation. It's not only racism, but economic exploitation of poverty would be one, and then militarism. And I think in a sense, and in a very real sense, these three are tied inextricably together, and we aren't going to get rid of one without getting rid of the other.
There's no better way to celebrate MLK than to get out in your community and do something.
The statement means to me something very simple: continuity. We're still here. I've been part of organizations that started out with tremendous energy and fizzled out at the end of 5, 10, or 15 years. From when I first came to be part of this group, we would have maybe 8 or 9 people involved. Now we have people involved, all walks of life. That's exciting. That means that this group, this process, this mission will endure, and that's exciting.
Everybody recognizes there's work still to be done till the dream of, you know, full justice is recognized, whether it's in law enforcement, education. The situation remains that African Americans and people of, you know, diverse backgrounds or whatever are often the last hired, first fired. Sometimes I think that the younger people don't have the spirit. Those of us that lived through the change, that saw segregation in the South break down, that saw the voting rights, I think till we have the day when there's true equality, you know, there's work to be done.
And I feel that there is a need for a revolution of values in America, because some of the values that presently exist are certainly out of line with the values and the idealistic structure that brought our nation into being.
When we started out the breakfast, and we would go to the school and feed the teachers, I don't know, 50 people, you would say, Bart, and things like that. And now, as of, 29 years now, we're feeding 400 people.
It's important for the next generation to come up.
When I sit back and reflect, the work is not complete yet by a long shot. We had 50 to 60 years of good progress, and you could see that progress. You could see phenomenal momentum. And I have an older brother who says, you can tell how powerful we as black people are by the energy they spend in trying to suppress us. And in Florida, we're seeing all those things happening now. Eliminating DEI kinds of programs, and very consciously trying to set us back 50 years. So the burden, unfortunately, is back on us to regain that momentum that we had 50 years ago.
Whether I'm here or not, I'm hoping that the ones that's coming on board now and stand with us, we can continue to keep this event moving forward.
I'd like to see the city take a major role in the efforts of what we do, and make it a city project as opposed to a MLK committee project. To me, that is most meaningful.
I think that the fact that the city was founded by a black woman should be celebrated much more. The whole world should know that history, and the whole world doesn't.
I'm hoping that in the future we can get one of our streets renamed MLK.